Hi, this is Jack Daulton. It's Jack Daulton's drawing room on the road, so to speak. I'm here with my good friend, Mat Devine. We're in Hollywood, California, at the famous Chateau Marmont, the legendary Chateau Marmont. You know, Matt, from F. Scott Fitzgerald to Greta Garbo to Jim Morrison and the late John Belushi, so many celebrated people have stayed at this hotel, and this is the first time I've ever been here. I know you've been here for meals or drinks from time to time, because you live in LA now. But this is my first experience with Chateau Marmont, and I have to say that I'm in Cottage 83, and it's a charming place to stay with an incredible ambience. The entire hotel is an incredible ambience, but the cottage itself is really wonderful, exceeds my expectations. And as I told you yesterday, this feels like a place where I'd like to spend a month and write. I could envision F. Scott Fitzgerald or some other great writer of the past doing some really wonderful work here.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really, I mean, Sunset Boulevard is right behind us, maybe 20 feet away, but this is totally private and totally secluded and, you know, covered by this canopy of cool plants and tropical, and there's hummingbirds flitting around everywhere, and a really cool pool. Yeah, this is really sweet.
Well, yeah, I was commenting yesterday, when we were sitting by the pool, that you'd almost not know you were in a city in this environment next to Chateau Marmont. This cottage environment that's surrounded by gardens, rather lush gardens. You and I are a bit bleary-eyed this morning. Apologies for the bags under my eyes. It's not just my age, but we were out last night until about 3 in the morning, and the night ended with some real fun.
A romantic dip in the pool between 3 men.
And the Chateau Marmont pool, yeah, it was a great experience. I'm glad we did that.
Yeah, it was in. You know, I think when I was younger, I used to party all the time, and in my, you know, these days I choose my battles. You know what I mean? And I don't enjoy getting so fucked up as I used to. And,
yeah.
But this was one of those cases where it really was kind of, you know, it was one of those carpe diem kind of like, just in the spirit of, well, I was just happy you were in town, because I've been, you know, you're obviously like my favorite person in the world, and I try to hang out with you as often as I can.
Thank you so much.
And it's so rare.
Likewise, back at you, double.
But it's really rare that we get a chance to hang out. So I was in a really celebratory state of mind, and then, you know, again, like you were mentioning this place, there's certainly like a spirit to this place that, you know, there's a legacy of kind of debauched stories here, and some just fantastic legendary nights, and it was fun to experience one for myself, regardless of the fact that it ended up being three dudes in their underwear. But yeah,
I had my Speedo on.
Thank God there's no photos. But anyway, so what are your questions?
But I think we should set the stage a bit further in terms of the time of this visit. As you said, I haven't seen you in a long time, face to face. We talk periodically about what you're doing, what I'm doing. But I haven't seen you face to face in almost exactly 2 years. The last time I saw you face to face, you were living in New York. Now, is it accurate to say you're living in LA? Or is that...
It's not. It's premature to say that, but it's looking that way. Which I never thought I would ever hear myself say out loud. But things are just heading in that direction. It's just I was in New York for 3 years, loved it. Like I think in my bones I'm a New Yorker. You know, I think I resonate with New York City more than anywhere else. I think it's the greatest city in the world. But you know, you can't, in terms of just, I don't know, there's a lot of great things going on out here. The weather's insane, as you live out here in California.
Yeah, I live in the San Francisco area.
Yeah, I mean, just compared to, like I just mentioned, the hummingbirds. Like, obviously, that's just a silly example, but coming from New York, even in the West Village, which I love, which kind of has that, to me, a more subdued attitude, just a more chilled kind of, almost, I feel like it's kind of Parisian, it's kind of almost suburban, but narrow streets and very it's not like the metropolis of uptown or whatever, but even there, it's even on the most beautiful day, you're never going to see a hummingbird. You know, you'll see a mouse maybe. But
Yeah, and I think we should say that you and I spent some really important formative years of our life living in Chicago, which during the winter is so far removed from the California experience. And I moved to California 13 years ago, as you know, from Chicago. And although I love Chicago, as you do too, I know, it's liberating to live in a place that has really nice weather in so many ways.
yeah.
Now, the last time I saw you, Matt, 2 years ago in New York, I came to New York to see you in a performance, Spider-Man the Musical, and that was really a great experience. Unfortunately, that experience for you, that theatrical experience or opportunity for you, you were in the cast of the musical, ended prematurely and abruptly.
I don't think it was unfortunate. I think the timing of it was perfect. You know.
Well, it's turned out fortunate in a way. At the time, it seemed unfortunate.
Yeah, but even then, for me, I didn't.
Was that right?
Yeah, I was. It seemed to be on the right course. You know what I mean?
I see.
It's doing coming from being a performer in a band. We get to kind of adjust our set list every night. We're in a different town, usually when we're touring, a different town every night. And, you know, being a play, obviously, there's such consistency.
Yeah.
And after a while, you know, at that time I'd been doing it 8 months or more, you know, so I was ready for a change.
That's such a positive attitude. I mean, your part was cut out after the production was taken over by other parties.
Yeah.
And it was rather unexpected. Many people would have been incredibly bummed out by that. But as you say, you've kind of you've got this flexibility, you know, that you're used to. Having been in a rock band, still are, and having experienced the road, a lot of ups and downs and changes of scenery. And you also, the other thing that makes you different than a lot of people who might find themselves in that position, you're involved in a lot of different projects concurrently, writing, music, acting, and film. And so for one project, the door on one project to close, there's other doors that are already open and are opening.
Yeah.
And so you moved out here to California when? About two or 3 months ago?
Yeah, almost 3 months ago.
And what was the specific reason that precipitated the move? Why did you come out here?
It's funny, your voice is so hypnotic. I'm just you're talking
really?
like, wow, that's really pleasant sound.
It's never really worked to my advantage.
This will be a great video for people, I think, if they're like for insomniacs, they're having a hard time sleeping. Like, put this video on. You'll have your voice in this register here, like almost like a rolling waves in the distance. My voice up here, kind of honky and nasally, like a, you know.
We do have two completely different voices, but you know, thank you for saying that, because I'm kind of self-conscious about my voice because I've always felt like it doesn't sound that good.
That sounds great.
Thank you.
I'm probably going to put this on to fall asleep too later. But yeah, to answer your question, I came out here to make a solo record, you know, with your help.
Yeah, a solo record. And the writing process for that record, were most of the songs written in New York, or has some been written in Chicago?
Let's see, there's 12 songs on the record. The majority of them were written in, I guess it's kind of all over the place, because these are songs that were, generally these are songs that were written to be Kill Hannah songs, but that didn't fit, you know, the parameters of the band, so they're generally kind of like lighter, almost, I'd say quirkier, more soundtracky sort of songs. And yeah, some are, I mean, one song, as you know, Falling in Love Will Kill You, at this point, that song is probably 6 years old.
Interesting.
But it's one of just, you know, so I've been kind of gathering these songs in a weird way, like over years, and knowing that there'd be some time that they should come out as a solo record. And however, like, you know, the title track of the album, Goldblooded, was written out here as soon as I got here.
I see. So some songs are written out here.
Yeah, Goldblooded was written the day I got out here.
Interesting. So Chicago, New York, LA, these are all the places you wrote parts of this album.
Yeah.
I mean, as we've discussed before, you've had in mind, in the back of your mind, if not the forefront, for years, the idea of a solo record. So it's not surprising that some of these songs could have been written as long as 6 years ago, and you kind of stored them away thinking someday that they're perhaps not appropriate for Kill Hannah, but someday on my solo record they would be great. But you know, interesting, you said that a lot of the songs on this record are kind of, you envision them as soundtrack suitable tracks. But your music has always kind of had a cinematic, intellectual background. I mean, you have a degree in film, and from the earliest days, Hummingbirds the Size of Bullets even, it seemed to me that your songs always seem to have the idea of a film in mind, or they bring a film to mind when you listen to them. Is that kind of accurate, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the way I put it, I'm having a hard time saying this, maybe because it's so early, but...
We had a limited amount of sleep last night. I think we said maybe 4 hours.
Well, somebody asked me once, there was an interview overseas, and somebody asked me how I know when a song is good. You know, obviously, like, I'm not saying all my songs are good. I think everybody writes a lot of songs, and depending on who you are, I mean, Prince writes a song a day.
Some are good.
Some are good. Bowie is probably one of my top 3 favorite writers of all time, and I'd say the vast majority of his stuff is almost unlistenable. But you're your own kind of filter, and somebody asked me, when do you think that a song is great? And for me, and here's how it ties into your question, for me, if I'm not seeing a scene to a movie when I'm listening back to the song, then I don't think it's a good song. So I think very visually. I didn't go to film school to make films per se. I went there kind of to make music videos for my own songs, and I went there more just because I have an interest in film. I don't think I ever saw myself being a director or anything like that. And at the Art Institute, their film program is a lot more visual, it's a lot more conceptual, it's not like commercial, it's not like USC, for example, film school.
Well, I should clarify, the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, some people regard it as the finest studio art school in the country. And of course, they're going to bring a really artsy sensibility to their film program.
Yeah.
Now, why did you choose to record the songs you had written in LA instead of New York or Chicago? Certainly there are recording studios of high quality in New York. What drew you to LA for that purpose?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I guess one of the producers I really wanted to work with, David Jelson Riley, he has a studio out here.
I see.
So he and I were talking, and we agreed to work together, and it just made sense, and things lined up, and the decision came. You were the one who really enabled me to do it on a more like kind of professional scale, because in the past, you'd kind of get a record deal first, you'd arrange, you'd partner with some sort of big company, they then kind of finance the album, it becomes this whole developmental process, and instead I wanted to go at this one more from the standpoint of, let's make a record, then let's put it out. If someone else wants to get involved, then that's fine, but we'll have those discussions after the record's finished. I don't particularly want or need input on a creative label from a record label at this point, on a creative level. Did I say level or label?
I think you said both, but honestly, honestly, I started to daydream there.
I think the viewers there's no way anyone's watching this video until now. I'm just saying, if you're watching till now, I'm assuming you're probably...
I disagree. The last video we did 2 years ago has thousands of views. But anyway, yeah.
But just to finish that thought, oh man, are we getting the hook?
No, we still have time. Let's ignore it. That's the front desk calling, asking when I'm checking out, but we have time.
You sure they're asking you when you're checking out, or
no, noon is the checkout. It's not noon yet. It's annoying though.
It's kind of, landlines. You know what I mean?
Should I answer the phone?
No, that's alright.
Okay. It's
funny though, right? Landline. Who even has a landline? It's just more. It just speaks more to like the charm. You're telling this place is charming. It is. Like, it reminds me of like I'm glad. I was talking to someone else about this place, like the Chateau. It's not. The first thing you notice is like, wow, there's actually several layers of paint on things. It's not one of these like totally cultivated landscape sort of minutely detailed sort of modern places. It's really homey, and I think that's the real draw of it to me.
I've stayed in luxury hotels all over the world. I'm a prolific traveler, but this room really does have a homier feel. You're absolutely right, than any hotel room I've ever stayed in. The hotel, of course, is built in the 1920s, and it still has that look about it and feel about it. It's decorated in a sort of a prairie-style arts and craft aesthetic that's continued throughout this little cottage. So it's really unique in that respect. But getting back to the record, do you feel like you've had a lot more freedom, to follow up on the comment you were just saying, that you did when